All right.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I just want to take this opportunity to welcome you all to the park, and also thank you to everybody who participated in the canoe and water ceremony. It touches our heart as Tsleil-Waututh people. We have lived on, like my auntie said, we've lived on this water for time immemorial, and we've spent all our lives praying, eating, playing, and living our lives in this sacred water. So this ceremony is to put drop those words, drop those prayers into the hearts and minds of the people that work over at Westridge Terminal. I also just want to say thank you to all the paddlers who took their time to do that that sacred work. It's dear in our hearts, and it lifts us up as a people and a nation, and hopefully bring us all together as human beings as we all appreciate the water. As well, I just want to welcome you to the day. We have tons of things lined up.
Really proud to introduce my niece and beautiful singer, beautiful spokesperson, beautiful leader, and a beautiful teacher for myself too, Takaya Blaney. Let's give her a big hand.
Hello, my name is Takaya Blaney. My ancestral name is Jagajimuch, and I'm 13 years old. I come from the Tsleil-Waututh Nation. My kukpa, my grandfather, is Robert Blaney. My chichi, my grandmother, is Elizabeth Blaney. And I am proud of who I am as a Tsleil-Waututh person. I am proud of my ancestry. I'm proud of the Tsleil-Waututh blood that runs through my veins, our canoes, our drums, our songs, and everything that we represent as far as caretakership, stewardship, and the understanding and compassionate connection between the peoples and the environment. But I am not proud of what has happened to my nation. Throughout my childhood, when I was 5 and 6 and 7 years old, I was informed about my community, and I was educated through a cultural lens where I was able to be exposed to our traditional stories, creation stories, and exposed to the way of life that my people once lived. And my life, it was illuminated with these stories of cultural, traditional survival, and the survival and way of life of my peoples, of how when we gathered our traditional foods, it wasn't to sustain our way of life, it was to sustain ourselves, and that is the way that we gathered our breakfast and our lunch and our dinner. When the tide was out, the table was set. But when I reached a certain age, I began to wake up to the reality of my nation, and I began to notice the certain corrupt governmental processes within my nation, between the community and the government. And I began to see how there was a cultural erosion of unity within my nation, how there were families that were turning upon each other due to their political beliefs. And I noticed, and I began to understand how my people are losing our nationhood, how the Tsleil-Waututh Nation is soon to not exist due to the treaty processes, and how we are losing 97% 97.7% of our territory, 100% of our water rights, I began to understand the difference, the not so gradual change between a time of sustenance off of our not resources but our natural relatives, and a time of disrespect and isolation from our cultural and moral values. And I went into a stage of mourning and of grief. When I was 6 years old, I wrote a poem called If I Were an Eagle, viewing the not so gradual change in my nation, the lack of culture, from a higher moral and spiritual perspective of an eagle. And the eagle at the end would go up to the sky to try and breathe above the clouds and the carbon emissions, and it would look to the stars. And I said, the eagle would look to the stars and wish it could be like those stars. And that was a projection of my grief and my sadness and loss over my environment and nation at the time. Because when I said I would wish to be a star, wish to be like those stars, many of my teachers, not my real teachers, which were my elders, but the ones within my school system, they thought, oh, that's so cute, she wants to be a star. But what I meant was, I wanted to be physically, emotionally, mentally unattached from Mother Earth, her surroundings, and human cultures in their entirety, so I don't have to feel pain and suffering and sadness when I watch my Mother Earth die within my generation and within the time that I am alive. And so I noticed this mourning and this grief over culture affect all of the youth within my communities, and later on in life I would notice how this would affect many Indigenous youth and non-Indigenous youth, if that was a conscious or subconscious stage of grief, of the disconnection and the lack of compassionate and emotional connections to our environment that were occurring between the youngest generation and the environment, how we weren't exposed to our culture and to the environment, and that was eroding and just taking away our decisions and our ability to make good judgments and lawful and good decisions based off of our compassion and emotional connection to nature, when it comes a time that we as youth go in and fill the shoes of our current leaders and make long-term decisions that will have permanent effect in our environment. Will we make those decisions based off of the love and the connectedness that we feel as individuals to our environment? Or how will we do so when we don't even have that connection to begin with? And so I notice how many of these youth are starting to have nature deficit disorder, or more increasingly amongst the Indigenous youth, we're having culture deficit disorder, where we're not connected to all physical or all elements of the medicine wheel of healthy living, the physical, the spiritual, emotional, and mental aspects of that medicine wheel, because we don't have the culture, we don't have the environment, which are the center of balance between all of those aspects of the medicine wheel. And so we need to be able to educate, we need to be able to not only attend the rallies and have that feeling of empowerment and understanding that we are a part of a larger movement within our hearts. We need to be able to create a change within our households, within our neighborhoods, by educating the children and educating the prophetic seventh generation that is being prophesized by many cultures, religions, spiritual beliefs, Indigenous spiritual beliefs around the world, that there will come a time when the youth will rise up and we will be the hope for our peoples. But how are we expected to complete that prophecy if we have no idea what it is like to drink the water out of our rivers and not feel fear for what could be in that water? We haven't had that experience or that cultural education to build the compassionate and emotional connection to our environment. So we need to be able to teach the youth to reach out to the elders. We need to be able to reach out to them, and we need to be able to provide them with teaching materials and teaching resources so they are able to become leaders. And that's as an activist, an environmentalist, I see the greatest change that we can make is always within education. It's always within healing. It may not always be within the defense of our environment, but the healing and reconnection that we can make to our environment and reawakening that love to our environment. And so as for the recent tailings pond break and that tragedy that we're currently witnessing right now, imagine at the time there was some type of assurance that tailings pond was going to be safe. It was going to not have any type of negative impacts on the environment or the livelihoods of the people in that area. And it's the same type of promises, false promises, and lies that affect people's livelihoods and our cultural existence and cultural survival that are being made currently with the Kinder Morgan expansion project, that are made currently with the Northern Gateway pipeline proposal. So when we look at the promises that are made to the economies, we have to be able to understand that these economies that are supposedly supported by the coming projects, industrial developments, that won't be supporting our local economies at all. They'll be supporting the larger corporate economies, and all we really see is the negative impacts within our environment and how that affects the future, how that affects the youngest generation. So we need to look back on our cultures, and we need to look back to our creation stories, and we need to be able to look for new beginnings. I was recently spending time with a girl up in Prince George, Hazelton, and her name is Shanna, and she was talking about the creation story of the raven who stole the sun. And it reminded me that when the raven and all of the animals in the world, when they lived in darkness, it's similar to how our Indigenous sisters and brothers are living in darkness now, and we need to be able to revive and reawaken and take that light and that sun back to our communities and spread hope and joy. And that has to be done by the youth. And I remember in that creation story, when the raven gave the sun back, it didn't just spread light and hope within his own life. It spread it to the rest of the world. And that's what we are doing. We are trying to preserve our cultures, and within doing that, we are protecting not only our future generations, but the future generations of those who are currently discriminating against the Indigenous people and committing climate genocide onto our Mother Earth. We are protecting the future generations of those who live on Mother Earth. And so I'm going to be singing Earth Revolution with Karina Keeling here. And this song is about the youth. It's about empowerment. The generation now, the generation that will change things. Oh, okay. From a distance, still got a million miles to go, making a difference. The only trophy I want to hold, the state of the nation, is poison from pollution, greed, and war. We Actions speak louder than words. Oh, stop waiting till tomorrow. Oh, stop living yesterday. Oh, 'cause there won't be tomorrow. If we don't change today, generation now, children of the future, Earth's revolution. Creation's crying out and I feel her pain. I can't walk away. So I will do my part to fix what's broken and give back what we've taken. Hope for the dawn of a new day. Calling out to each and every person. Join me in the earth revolution. Let's go the distance. We are a million voices strong, facing resistance. But there's a choice between right and wrong. Oh, stop waiting till tomorrow. Oh, stop living yesterday. Cause there won't be tomorrow. Oh, if we don't change today, we're generation now, children of the future, Earth's revolution. Creation's crying out and I feel her pain. I can't walk away. So I will do my part to fix what's broken, give back what we're taking. Hope for the dawn of a new day. Calling out to each and every person. Join me in the earth revolution. I've walked this great land. It used to be beautiful. It used to be home. I've seen the river run dry out. Communities have no hope. And where are the tall ancient trees? They've replaced them with their concrete dreams. We gotta turn this around. We can fix it, I know. We're generation now, children of the future, Earth revolution. Creation's crying out, and I feel her pain. I can't walk away. So I will do my part to fix what's broken and give back what we're taking and hope for the dawn of a new day. Calling out to each and every person. Join me in the earth revolution. Calling out to every generation. Join me in the revolution. I'm calling out to and every nation, join me in the earth revolution. Thank you.
How lucky are we to be in the presence of Takaya Blaney. Give her another warm hand. And our accompaniment, Karina Keeling. Just so inspiring, and I just want to raise my hands, especially with the introduction with Takaya Blaney gracing our stages and lifting our hearts for all the youth that are here with their hearts and their minds wide open. And we're just so blessed to have one of our youth represented here today.
Wow.
I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce to you Susan Skinner. She's an elected school trustee on the North Shore to have some remarks for us today.
And I want to say a special thank you for the invitation to take part in the ceremonial canoe ride over to Kinder Morgan. It was a very powerful journey, and one that I could not help but notice the most important thing today for me is that it was a great honor to sit behind Takaya Blaney and paddle behind her, as all adults are here to be, is behind our youth. And what's happening in our province and throughout the world is not providing a foundation. If you want to talk about economy, we need to talk about the fact that if we don't have clean air, land, and water, there's no economy. There's no argument in my mind in the work that is being done here today. And I think that on behalf of my children, I thank everyone that's here, especially the Tsleil-Waututh, for all the work that they've been doing. And I guess my message is that the time for separation is over. The time for coming together, no matter what color, race, creed, religion, gender, the time to come together is now. Our future generations absolutely depend on us to stand up now. And I thank you for that. So on behalf of my own children, my own future grandchildren, all of your children and grandchildren, the Honorable Christy Clark's children, I stand here now. Honorable Mary Pollock, the Honorable Bill Bennett, I stand on behalf of their children today. They may not see the light that we see today and the absolute importance, the critical importance at this juncture to stand up. So thank you all for being here today, and again, continue to show up for the Tsleil-Waututh and for everyone, because if it's not in this backyard, it's going to be in another one. So it's all about standing together united. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, let's give her a hand. So I'm going to introduce my bro Eugene here, West Coast Environmental Law, one of our attorneys. Good, hard, diligent work, good bro, and good messages. Has taught me a lot, so I'm just going to let him go at her.
Thanks, Rueben. And thank everyone for coming out this morning and for today. My name is Eugene Kung. As Rueben said, I'm a staff lawyer with West Coast Environmental Law, and I really want to thank and start by thanking and acknowledging the leadership of the Tsleil-Waututh Nation in hosting this event and bringing all these people together and all these amazing acts and the poetry stage and the delicious food that we're going to have, and welcoming us here to unite together in our opposition against the Kinder Morgan pipeline expansion. I grew up in Burnaby, just on the other side of the inlet here. My grandfather was one of the last head taxpayers here in Canada. He arrived just a few months before Chinese immigration was outlawed altogether for about 30 years. And I grew up just over there. I went to daycare on Burnaby Mountain at SFU, and I remember very clearly some of my first connections to nature came in this inlet. I can remember going to Barnett Marine Park, which is just over there, and catching fish for the first time and feeling that connection. I remember learning how to kayak in that same place. And so today, when I was out in the canoe and thinking about how we need to continue to build those connections to our place and to the water, and feeling really why it's important to protect it, it sat with me in a really, really deep and emotional way that cannot be expressed in a legal document, can't be expressed in an op-ed or in a documentary. It's something that really has to be experienced personally, and it's incredible how that personal feeling can be so encompassed by such broad and systemic challenges that we face every day. Another story about when growing up over on SFU, I remember being sent to school every year with a package from my mom, a big Ziploc bag that had in it a bottle of water, emergency blankets, some granola bars, a pack of cards. And the reason that I had that every year, my mom gave that to me every year, was because we live on a fault line. This is a major seismic zone. The idea of expanding that terminal by over 3 times in volume, by increasing the number of tankers by 7 times, so there's going to be 400 a year, more than a tanker a day, clearing through the second narrows with 1.5 meters of clearance, and sitting it all on a fault line on a mountain is just ludicrous. And the myth of the economic benefits that we're supposed to get from this is totally false. I liked what they said earlier. Without the water, without the land, without the air, there is no economy. And this is just a project that makes no sense on so many levels for everyone here. So I want to thank you all for coming. It's going to be an awesome day. There's amazing acts. Vince Vaccaro was in the canoe. We were canoe buddies together. Takaya was there. I'm really excited to see the music, to hear the speakers, to eat some delicious food, and listen to some poetry. I just want to thank again Tsleil-Waututh First Nation for hosting and their leadership on this, and for all of you for joining in on the fight, because it's we got a long way to go, but we're going to do it together. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
All right.
Wow.
I have the honor of introducing a community leader. She has worked with the nation years ago when she was the former mayor of West Van, and she has been invited to come and speak a few words to our event. I would like to introduce to you Pamela Goldsmith-Jones.
Thank you for inviting me to celebrate the Salish Sea with you today, the foreshore and the wetlands that ring its banks and the watersheds that replenish it. Being here is a strong reminder of what it is to be of a place and not at a place, and to remember and celebrate that the sockeye are running. I think the earth is screaming out right now for us to be as one, and there's no more profound and heartfelt connection for us than with the salmon. And so I'd just like to end by quoting the words of Tom Jay. Salmon are the precious metal of our watersheds. They embody our home places. Salmon are the deep note of our dwelling here, the silver soul of this green bell. The silver soul of this green bell is ringing, and it's up to us. Huichka.
Wow.
Coming up on stage to perform for us, Van Haleck. put your hands together and welcome Van Haleck.
Thank you. Oh, cool, cool. Give it a hand. Give it a big hand. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Wow.
Well, I was reading earlier today that there's 20 spills a day in the United States. That's 20% more of what they had last year. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. These spills affect people's lives. They affect their communities. They affect their sustenance of living off the land. And we heard firsthand from the Stotlian people how that tailing pond spill in the Caribou territory is how it's affecting them. So that's why we're doing something. But I'm really proud of our Tsleil-Waututh leadership. They came to the decision that every office building in our territory is going to be green energy building. I'm glad the community wanted to look into what kind of investments that we'd make, and one of the things that they agreed on was green energy. Tsleil-Waututh Nation, we own and we sell wind turbines. These things are so important. You know, back here we have a Tesla car. What's crazy about the Tesla car is that Nikola Tesla invented that engine in 1950. And now they're just making it. Some of these oil companies will buy a patent for green energy car and then they would squash that idea and bury it. They would buy it and they would bury it so they can continue to sell fossil fuels. And that's part of the things that we have to educate ourselves on. I didn't know myself. If you asked me any environmental question a short 3.5 years ago, I couldn't answer them to you. But once I started to find out the true facts of the devastation that these fossil fuels cause to our own lives, I had to change and make a better decision for my future generations. Really had to look at what's happening and how the world is changing. They say climate is going to change. Climate changed. When I travel the world talking about what we're talking about here today, and I go to a rally and there's 500,000 people out in Brazil, 500,000 people out in Mexico, in the Middle East they had 1 million people come out. What they want has changed, but what drives them in other countries to have that many people is that they are living and seeing those effects firsthand. There's people in other countries that are fighting over water. I've seen that in Mexico, fighting over water. And that's just crazy, but I see us going in the same direction. It's not going to be long before we are going to be in the same situation. How devastating is it going to be? Can we change? Can we fix what happened to that tailing pond? Will salmon come back? Those are questions that nobody can answer right now, but it doesn't look good. From the track record that I've seen these companies have, it's not good. Exxon Valdez, 20 years later, are still trying to not pay compensation to the people's lives that they ruined. 20 years later, they're in court trying not to pay. Same as BP. They're trying not to pay, and the government supports them on that. So I think my family's ready. I want to welcome up my family, children of Takaya. They're going to come up and share some songs, some of our culture, some of our spirituality. Our songs come from the earth that you will hear, and there's some of the stories that they're going to share. And because they're from the earth, it's going to share a little bit about who we are as Tsleil-Waututh people, as the people of the water right here, people of the inlet right here. And these songs will share a little bit about that. So let's give a warm welcome to children of Takaya.
That was a birth dance. And this next dance is called the nature dance. And it's a thanks fitting to our Mother Earth and everything that did its share to it. In 1956, when my father and mother began doing this, it was so quite present in the lawmakers' eyes that for Indian people to value to them in sin is against the law. They made it against the law for us to sing our songs and do our dances. So my dad said, if we're an entertainment group and we're performing, they can't say it's against the law. And by doing that, we preserve a part of our culture and we'll educate people to show them that there are nothing to be afraid of. So that's why they began doing it. To show people that we're human beings that do, and they mean you no harm, and our songs and dances will make you feel better. And it shouldn't be against the law. So when we do that, we carry that history with us in here, and it helps keep us strong, as you have today. For our last time we're going to do the Spirit of Sahel.
Wow.
make it good and make it cool and fill the river, fill the pool, quench the thirst of every fool and every sage and every sour soul who's lost so much he doesn't know is needed. Oh, in vain I tell you, we're all the same, 'cause there you stand, saying that it's not for real, 'cause we're the ones who get to steal the show. I don't know, perhaps you're right, but even so, if there's no audience, you know there ain't no show. Rain, won't you fall on me again? Because I'm only mud I set up on my brain. And in vain I tell you, we're all the same, 'cause there you stand, saying man is not for real, 'cause we're the ones who get to steal the show. I don't know, perhaps you're right, but even so, if there's no audience, you know there ain't no show. saying, man, it's not for real. 'Cause we're the one who get to steal the show. And I don't know, perhaps you're right, but even so, if there's no audience, you know there ain't, no there ain't, no there ain't no show. Thanks, you guys. Good night. Thank you so much.
Well, let's give him a hand one more time. Let's give one more hand. Come on, guys. Chilliwack, kid. Awesome. Thank you so much. We love that. I had a really good conversation, initial conversation with Bill, the lead singer, and he was in.
Wow.